So it is January 2023. We've gone through a lot. These times are intense. And I'm launching a new supervision, mentorship, guidance involving cellular detoxification and a slow-paced transition to the mucus-free and mucuslean principle of life. So these teachings have been doing so much for me since I applied them in my life. I started in 2018, and I've already transitioned myself from a lot of different foods before that, but I made the extra last steps that were definitely keeping me on the acidic side. So it has helped me to stop inflammation, calm it down, notice when I'm entering inflammation, dealing with acidity, alleviating the stress for my kidneys, getting my lymph back in movement. And I understood many things about the symptoms that I've been going through, or any symptoms that I experience now. That's the way where I actually could start devoting a lot of time to things that were meaningful to me. That's the year I started my online project, and building my website took a little bit of time, actually 6 months in the past, just to get it started, to get familiar, to learn how WordPress works and so on. So this way of living comes with consuming a higher percent of very hydrating food, and that is, we feel much better with that. It's also a way to address the food program by bringing structure, by also stopping to drain energy so much through the food and drinks we consume, right? Of course, food addictions runs very deep, but it's actually quite a fun process. It's less effort than it's been to break ties with handlers or so on. So it's not that much of a mountain, and then we get used to the next level, the next step, and it becomes easy for us to experience this reality without having to go to certain substances maybe that we were consuming. And we also know, this method for me has been a way to learn what can I do when I need grounding, when I need denser food, which choices to make, what to avoid, and what I have been avoiding kind of disappeared from my reality. And it doesn't come and haunt you for as long as it could, like even the strongest food addiction, once you give them up, I think the decision is the most difficult step. And then the action is actually much more enjoyable than it looks like. And the same goes for fasting, actually. And every time we might forget, but every time we do it, we remember also, that these are all the benefits I get from it, and it's much more than it cost me to make the decision to decide to go the next step. So it's also a great living system to alleviate the symptoms of depression, to bring more desire and energy space to be creative, and to have actually energy to leave these states of apathy, right? So it's going to be a little different than what I previously held as a space, because it was more of a fast learning curve, where here it's really going to be a journey where we just take the next step. So it's really a slow pace. It's enjoyable. Of course it's great because we have a group going on, and with that it just increases the desire to be accountable towards ourselves. It's just a great energy. It's joyful. I remember my first years of transitioning were really happy. I was feeling invigorated by the process, and then I kind of got used to it. But it was it's a very happy process, and to share it within the context of a group is also so great, just so motivating. Just you want to give the best of yourself every day, and it's just such a great energy to be in. So of course, the 3D aspects are an entry point to kind of tackle many other aspects, like the emotional, the spiritual, the psychological, all of that, in addition to the physical level. And so there will be regular short polls devoted to be, their function is purely to be activating and to be of support. And then there will be also content shared in different class being taught by myself and also by other high frequency teachers. So it's really going to be a fun group and a high frequency experience. And my intent is, by the end of this process, for the participants to be really at ease, to understand. It took me a while to, I think, understand at a deeper level what is mucuslean, what does it mean. Even if I read it, it wasn't very clear to me. What is mucus-free? What does it mean? Basically, mucus-free is very hydrating content. It doesn't leave any residue. Mucuslean is a kind of a neutral content that can create a little bit of mucus, but not just moderately, so it's not kind of overwhelming for the body. So what choices to make, but it takes time. It's really a process, and that's what we're gonna do. Also to anchor this frequency, it helps, of course, these practices and also fasting. And I really like dry fasting. I do it weekly. And it really is a great reset. I get many insights. It helps to increase my abilities, just to know, when you have a dog, but then or you piecing pieces of the puzzles together. There's just more information come your way. You better have a pen and a paper next to you, because it's kind of, there is a lot going on in your mind. So it will be starting as soon as the group is consolidated, and we do a poll to get our starting date. And then we will also have yoga classes held by Olia for movement. This is for lymphatic kind of engagement, bringing us to dynamic. And also there will be the calming teachings that Olia brings for the nervous system. She also starts her yoga class with a deep relaxation lying down practice, which is very nice, because you know that you come to class and that you're going to start with lying down for 10 minutes. And then Lisa Ray will also be sharing with us her knowing and her healing abilities and gifts with restorative practices, Qigong. She was teaching Yin Yoga, and she's back to teaching again. So it's going to be a very special experience to experience her teachings. And Shelley Jensen will hold space for us with different classes and also sound bath experiences. So I'm really looking forward these moments, these healing moments where we mutually inspire each other. We keep the motivation high as well. There will also be different challenges where we decide to push ourselves a little further for a limited amount of time, whether it's 5 days, and anybody could be choosing their own level, giving the best of themselves without over triggering themselves as well. So there are different things, many different things that anyone can be starting to implement in their life to make progress, to feel better, to there are many different components to being healthy, feeling good, having a good mental health, and all of that is a series of many different efforts. So that's what it's going to be about. Of course, we're also going to talk about food addiction, triggers, mental health, and lures, because it's how could we not talk about them? I will also be breaking down some myths that are from the inverted kind of information that are causing harm to our bodies, that are encouraging acidity. I will be sharing additional content as well about mucus-free food, about mucus-free living, cellular detoxification, health discernment in the health and detox and healing field as well, because it's very complex. There are so many levels into any of our engagement here with any of the interface. I will also be working with the Energy Remaster app, different panels, different health panel, but also other type of panels to identify where is the next step needed and so on. By the end of this process, you will be much more at ease with all the alkaline food. You will have a knowledge, you will have experienced it in a slow motion for it to stay with you, for it to become a lifestyle, as it has done for me. It's not really so much of an effort to stay within the range of the mucuslean food for me. But I know I need to tend towards the mucus-free if I want to stay out of the inflammation in the acidity area. I know how much cooked food I can have, and it's not that much. So I need to pay attention and kind of, so everybody with their genetics is going to be different. And different months is going to be different. When I started detoxification, my body could not, when I started first liquid fasting and I went back to food, it took time with everything. So I can, digestion will change, your vital energy. If you have more, you will be able maybe to tolerate more food. So it's generally a very pleasant adventure with a lot of joy sharing. It's very inspiring to be changing directly what's going on in our kitchens, to have a few more tools to play with, just building new habits, experimenting with new things. It's also, pretty visible because our relationship with food happen every day, different times a day. So it's a very important relationship, and maybe we don't talk enough about it, or we underestimate maybe the power that it has to really transform our lives. So for me, I had reached that moment in my life where I really was needing to address that, to up level and upgrade, and it did. It was a quantum shift for me. It was great to be learning that. It helps me to have an influence on time, on the space I have in my life. And I know that if I have a lot on my plate, I always have these tools that I can go back to that are really helpful. And then, it's like a day is lasting much longer than general day. It's like a much longer day. And my bigger motivation has always been to move stagnant energy, to fight these states of apathy, inertia, to get things moving again. And it's actually pretty delicious. You can have a lot of different savors. There is a substitute for pretty much everything. and there are lots of tricks and tips that we will be discussing together for the ones joining this adventure. So thank you to those who already know that they are joining, who have been feeling called by this challenge. Thank you to those who will be teaching. I'm looking forward to start, and I feel the energies are already in motion. So we're gonna settle the energies for the next few months, where we will be engaged in that beautiful adventure to transform our lives on all level, because of course you address this 3D plane, and then a lot of different things are moving that were hidden, or you just didn't have space and time to address them, to have even the energy to do so. So it's a very exciting journey ahead, and I will see some of you there.